We're taking a look at While My Guitar Gently Weeps, an iconic guitar part and some lovely writing. So I think we're just going to start right in with the guitar part itself. I'm going to just avoid the piano part because, it's just a pedaled piano part. We're going to focus on the guitar. This is a good indication here up in the corner. That makes sense. Slow in 2, and the feel is that's what this C common time thing is with a line through it. It means it's not 4/4, it's 2/4 time, half time, like half of 4/4, and so the feeling is like 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1. Okay, so baseline movement, big deal here. You could probably do a whole lesson here just concerning the baseline movement. I'm going to move this up an octave, so I'm not going to do this baseline down here, but we're going to take the baseline up here so you can hear it differently. Right, so you've got that bass line moving. And then the next movement is from the A minor to the G, D. Right, and now when you're playing rhythm parts, when you're thinking harmonically, which guitar players have to do, you're always listening for the bass line and the middle parts and the top parts at the same time. Even if you're doing something simple as playing a chord like G, right? I'm hearing that what I'm playing, is the root of the chord and the fifth of the chord on top. And those in the middle. Try to hear that way. If I change this to a G over B, you can hear obviously a bass line, and that's what's happening here. Okay, it says here F major 7. I know. I would disagree, but if you want to leave a comment and say, I disagree with you, I think it should be an F major 7. Because all an F major 7 is an A minor chord with an F bottom, but I find it more effective and less abrasive if you just play a simple F chord. It just sounds better to me. And they're calling this an F sharp minor 7 flat 5. You could simply call it an A minor with an F sharp in the bass, which is the same thing. The problem is that when you write it like this, you sort of, it's more difficult to see that you've just got a descending bass line, right? It's really the descending bass line is going A minor, G, F sharp, F. Next section, A minor to G, F sharp to E. You should be hearing that and listening to that all the time. Okay, so that's the first little bit. The first section, and probably 8 measures long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's right. So the first 8, and then the first 8 would repeat, and bam, you've got the first half of the tune. And then the bridge. Now, time for a bit of a harmonic analysis. I just did another tune, Michelle, and it did exactly the same thing. I did another tune not long ago, and it did exactly the same thing. We're going from, in this case, Michelle starts with major and goes to the parallel minor. In this case, we start with minor and it goes to the parallel major. right? Key of A minor going to the key of A major, and we do have the 3-sharp key signature there that indicates that. Let's just talk about the chords that are happening in A major. We have a 1 chord, a 3 chord, a 6 chord, back to the 3 chord, and then a 2 chord. And when I say these numbers, what I'm talking about there is the function of the chord. The chord function is the A functions as the 1 chord, the tonic chord in the key of A. The C sharp minor functions as the 3 minor chord in the key of A. All of these chords, each of these chords are coming out of an A major scale, and that's why it's important to know your scales and your harmonization of the scales. And you know, it has very practical ramifications in that you can make fills happen and so on when you know what key you're filling in. Okay, so A, and then to the 3 chord, and then to the 6 chord, and then back to the 3 chord. This C minor 7 here, totally unnecessary. I mean, it's just like a little, you know. Right? It's not there's no sort of justification other than you know, harmonic justification other than, you know, passing, you know, from one chord to another. So that's sort of a guitarism. Let's call this a guitarism, and then we pass to the B minor chord, which is the 2 chord, then to the 5 chord. And that 5 chord is, well, we've got a moving bass line in the 5 chord too. And then that 5 chord would be leading back to the A minor. The 5 chord of E is going to be the 5 chord in both major and minor. So there's a little bit of a harmonic trick that's happening there, flipping back and forth from parallel major to parallel, from parallel minor to parallel major, and vice versa. Okay, a nice little fill here over the E, and then I'm using this word guitarisms quite a bit, is this. Nice, eh? So you can use that. Just F, G. Now we get to the D over F sharp. The reason for that D over F sharp is the F sharp moves down to the E, so you get this bass line. Right, but I bet you $100 to a donut that the most guitar players, and that sounds fine too. If you're in a group situation and you're just playing the D without the F sharp on the bottom instead of, you know, just playing the normal D with an F sharp on top, right? The common D with an F sharp on top. Get the bass player play the F sharp on the bottom. Yeah, that's great, right? That'll sound great, and it'll be leading to, that E chord. Okay. So a few things. I keep bringing up this word guitarisms. Guitarisms basically feel comfortable. They make sense, and in many cases, charts don't make a heck of a lot of sense because they're written by piano players or even nowadays by computer programs. So you have to get the chart, and the guitar part that you're working on. You have to get it to the point where it makes sense, where everything feels comfortable, and so it's just not a terrible chart, but just be aware of of the fact that not all charts work for guitar players, especially if you're just dragging them off the internet. And to make the point of concerning tablature, tablature doesn't tell you really important things like time signature, like like in most cases, it doesn't reference the melody at all. So that's a real problem. It'll just show you a rhythm guitar part and or maybe a single note line guitar part. But what we're doing here is trying to integrate melody and rhythm into a cohesive, intelligent part that sounds like the song. Doesn't only sound like the song, it's completely individual to that song, right? And that's why I use the word iconic at the top, because when you hear this, I imagine there's lots of non-musicians that would say, oh, hey, I know that song, and that's where you want to be, right? Always reference the melody, reference the characteristic elements of the song. In this case, one of the most characteristic elements is the bass line, the moving bass lines, right? And that minor, parallel minor to parallel major chord change, which George uses quite a lot. It's a great change. It's a very dramatic change, and it works beautifully. And also, it's important to recognize the keys that you're in, because if you want to do fills, I'm in E minor. There's an F sharp that comes out of the key of G or the key of E minor. If you're filling, you have to be aware of that F sharp. And then we go to the F, which is back to the natural minor. You get the idea. That's why we learn our keys, learn our scales, and so that we can not only be more effective rhythm players, but more effective musicians and soloists as well. Okay, I think that's it for today for this tune. I hope you got something out of that, and check out my other videos that are I'm sort of focused on this whole idea of intelligent rhythm playing right now. At least that's what I call it. That's rhythm playing where you're thinking about what's going on and listening for more than just putting your fingers on the right chords, but you're listening to the bottom note, the top note, the inner voices. You start to hear the guitar like a little choir. Okay, that's it for today. Thanks a lot for stopping by. We'll see you when we do again. All right, bye-bye.